Let's do a little belly dancing with old Joe Satriani this week. Yo kids, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. Good old Joe Satriani is one of my favorite players and biggest influences. Getting into a lot of his stuff like Surfing with the Alien and especially the Crystal Planet record really made me want to take my guitar playing to the next level technically. I also really loved him as the villain in the Harry Potter movies. He was also probably the first player I heard that wasn't afraid to get into some really, strange and out there scale choices, like some really atonal things and then some really exotic stuff like the Phrygian Dominant scale, which is what this lick is based off of. This lick is from the song Belly Dancer, which is on his Strange Beautiful music record, which has some really good tunes on it. Comes in at about 1 minute into the song before the guitar solo. It's a really cool way to see how you can play that scale laterally across a single string. But before we get too deep into it, let's hear it again at stepdad speed. And as always, there's a tab for this week's lick on my Instagram page, so be sure to go over to Instagram, look for BenEllerGuitars, find this week's lick, learn how to play it, and upload a video of yourself playing through it along with the hashtag WeekendWankshop. So this lick is based around the Phrygian Dominant scale, which is just like a regular Phrygian scale, only it has a raised third note in it. So basically, here's what regular Phrygian sounds like. Phrygian Dominant would have this raised third, so instead of going 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go 1, 2, raised 3, which gives it that cool exotic sound. If you've ever heard my solo on the Whitechapel song I Dementia, it's all based around that same scale too, so that'll give you a good frame of reference. So we can play the intervals of a Phrygian Dominant scale laterally across the string by going like this. Let me show you kind of the map, that way you'll know where we're going as we get through this lick. If I start off on the open G, then I can play fret 1, fret 4, fret 5, fret 7, fret 8, fret 10, fret 12. After that, everything starts over just like it did in the low octave here, so if you want to keep going, you could have 12, 13, 16, 17, and so on. Most of what we're using is right there. So old Snatch starts it off like this. I'm going to begin on the 12th fret on the G string, and I'm going to hammer on to 13 and then pull off to 12. And then pull off to the open G string. Next what you're going to do is go down a note in the scale to the 10th fret, and then play the 12th fret. So that lick went... So after that, what we're going to do is to come down here to the 8th fret. We're going to do a little hammer on and pull off to 10, pull off to open, play the next lowest note in the scale, which is here at fret 7, then back up to fret 8. So it's the same motif that you played here, just applied to this set of notes, just like that. So now we come to this section where we play the 5th G, hammer on to 7, pull back off to 5, then pull off to open. Next, do the same thing with the next part of the scale, the 4th and 5th here. I'm going to play 4, hammering on to 5, pulling off to 4, pulling off to open. Then you're going to do it with the lowest portion of the scale here with the 1st and 4th frets. 1, hammering on to 4, pulling back off to 1, pulling off to open. So that segment we just played will have 5 and 7, 4 and 5, 1 and 4. And then the last thing he's got to do here is hit the D string here, fret number 3, and then back to open G. Just like that. So all together slowly it should sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he just does it all again. Very expensive. Now here's a quick right hand tip that you can do to make this all sound a little bit cleaner. Because with all those pull-offs that you're doing, if you accidentally do a pull-off too hard and maybe swipe your B or E strings, it'll really sound like a can of shit, so you don't want to do that. So I do the old Satriani trick here, which is something outlined in that your muting / dampening sucks video that I did. You know, he doesn't use the B and E strings the entire time here, so what I'm going to do is with these two fingers, I'm just going to touch them, right? Because again, the picking on this isn't really crazy. It's just pretty much on the one string other than that one note at the very end that we play. So if I just basically, you know, touch these two strings, even if I get crazy with that pull off, you will never hear these two strings ringing out because they're being stopped, you know? So again, as I play that there, watch as I just sit here with these two fingers on the strings. That makes your picking motion come very much from the fingers, which again, for a lick of this speed where the picking is anything crazy, is totally fine. Now he plays the lick 4 times through during this section before the solo, and on the 3rd time through there's a harmony guitar that jumps in and then vanishes for the 4th time. So just on the 3rd time through you'll hear this. I'll play that slow again. I'll also put it on the tab on the Instagram page for anybody that wants to learn the harmony. Just like that. One more little thing about this Phrygian Dominant scale, it's usually used over major chords or dominant chords with a flat 9, which is a whole nother subject entirely. The reason you can do that is because this Phrygian Dominant scale contains notes that are in a major chord, root 3rd and 5th, G, B, and D, as well as the flat 7, the F, which is what make up a G dominant chord anyway. So you've got the cool dominant chord notes as well as some really more aggressive kind of mean sounding intervals like the flat 9, minor 6 in there and stuff too. So you get some really cool sounds. So next time you just encounter a random dominant chord as you're walking through the forest, try hitting it with some Phrygian Dominant on top of its root notes. In other words, if you see an A7, try A Phrygian Dominant over it. You get some really cool sounds that way. So there you go, guys. A cool lick from one of the best guitar players ever of all time. Amen. Hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can also go like my Facebook page that I've put up, which is facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. Instagram and Twitter you can follow me at. Just be sure to look for @BenEllerGuitars. And if you'd like to talk about getting some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, BenEllerGuitars@gmail.com. Thanks again, you guys. Be sure to stay tuned for another cool lick next week. Cheers.